Craig E. Rush, and tell us your story and why you wrote this book.
Okay, this is a story of my second great grandfather. His name was Lexius Henson, and he grew up in Ward 1 in Augusta, Georgia.
Okay.
Now, yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know about Augusta.
Yes, indeed.
Right.
Yes, indeed.
And he was a restaurateur, saucier, saloon/saloon owner. He had one of the finest restaurants in the country. Now, we're talking 1800s, 1860s.
It wasn't no after-hour joint.
You know, that's funny because through my research, I still have an inclination in the back of my mind.
That's what,
What did they call them? Speakeasies or something?
I don't think it got, no, that terminology exactly was being used back then.
Yes.
Because he did have parlors. He bought the old Augusta Chronicle to show you his means. He bought the Augusta Chronicle 4-story building. On the first floor, he had a floor for oyster bar, billiards or taps as they called it, and that was for the men only. Cigar bar, the whole nine, all the finest delicacies.
He understood the clientele that he wanted to attract with it.
Yes.
Was going to be,
yes.
That is great.
Yes, because he actually dealt with the richest people whose families and descendants are still the richest, from the Carnegies to the Rockefellers, generals during the Sherman, Lee.
Yeah.
So, Greg, why did you write this book? You know, something must have touched your heart to want to tell the story about something. So why did you do it?
I've always been a person, I should say, of compassion, to where things of worldly matters have always bothered me, even as a child. You know, I told one day, my mother came in the room, true story, and I was crying. She said, "Why are you crying?" I said, "Mom, because I don't think I can cure cancer." You know, so I've always been a compassionate person and into what I can do to help everybody else.
Okay.
For instance, I've made a lot of people well off today, you know, and I'm doing okay, but
step one is you're here.
Right, that I'm still here.
You
breathe. Right. Every day I'm awake is a good day.
Yes, indeed.
And that's my concept on life. But it began with just a photo on my mother's coffee table of this very austere gentleman that had no hairline like mine. I'll give a little peek. I keep the hat on. I'm not ashamed of it.
And well, brother, I'm like you too. We all get the crown.
Right.
Some folks fortunate hey.
That's why I'm letting land grow. Right. That's why I'm letting land grow. I think this is the last season of it.
And I really get mad. People say, my hair is all gray. I'm like, what I wouldn't do for a head full of gray hair?
Yeah.
But anyway, moving right back to the book. So it bothered me. My mother had this picture, and all we knew about the history of it was she thought it was her grandfather.
Okay.
Come to find out, it was her great-grandfather. Now, he was of, as they say, mulatto descent, which means African-American mixed with some other European nationality. So my brother had passed away, Nathaniel, and we were all sitting around with family, and my sister Googled it. And up popped Lexius Henson, richest Negro in the South, post and pre-Civil War. Oh, my goodness. I said, oh, what's going on here? And so I immediately started the research. And because my mother, what's unique about this is my mother did not know any of her family but 3 members on her side of the family. Now, my father's side, because she's of the mixed descent mulatto, and my father, the African-American. And so every holiday, she would just be depressed because I'm one of 8 kids. And you could just see it bothered her.
Okay.
You know, and that's what this book entails, too, also about how we lack our heritage, our lineage. And it's so important because, and it's also been designed
that way
to do that for a reason. You know, and it's rare because this is a story of success, you know, during slavery, a time frame
where that was not even supposed to be allowed
exactly.
to be successful.
And they don't want us to know that. When I say they, I say those of the financial means of the controlling families.
He put it so eloquently.
To be politically correct.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay.
You know, and they don't want you to know this because the seeds of hate and the slave mentality is what keeps us all captive. Yeah. You know, not just African Americans, Europeans.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what this book is called, Lexius Henson's Journal of Enlightenment. Mm-hmm. Okay, because we're all being used as pawns against us. And if you're not one of the haves, then you're a have-not.
Plain and simple.
So guess what? We're in the same boat, but they've taught you to elevate yourself to another level, but you weren't. People don't know that there were European slaves, but they just had a different name and title, the sharecroppers or whatnot.
Or the indentured servant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they were able to leave.
Yep.
So this book has an awareness of how we need to know these things, that we're on the same plane, you know, because what's two strongest emotions? Hate and love.
Yes.
And love.
So, brother, it's similar to, I was looking at something when I was coming back on the plane from Florida. I was reading a book, The Leadership Lessons of Jesus Christ.
Okay.
And he breaks down stories about, he takes the scripture and breaks down the scripture into a story about human.
Yes.
The human traits
yes.
of leadership and stuff like that. And he talked about Cain and Abel.
Okay. Okay.
So, you know how Cain, which one that killed his brother? I think it was Abel killed Cain.
Uh-huh.
And so he was telling a story about how one hated his brother because one of them wanted to give much to God, another one was trying to hide from God. I don't know the whole story. I've got to go back to see the whole story.
Right.
But there's a lot of hate going on into these communities throughout this world. It's been going on from eons. How do we change that? I know you're trying to tell your story. Mm-hmm. How do we change this, brother? To get brothers to start thinking about what your grandfather did. He had prosperity. It seemed like he had leadership skills. He had love. And so then he got some folks, white and black, hating on him.
Right.
How do we change this, man?
There's a lot of solutions to that, and one of the things is we've got a few lost generations in our generation, in our age, and
mm-hmm.
as they say, the
go
different
down
to yours. Yeah. So I suggest going to the child. You know, starting with the youth, not just the youth, just bringing awareness to everybody around you. You know, they say teach one,
reach one,
teach one.
Right.
Yes.
You know, and what we can do is start just telling positive stories. First of all, mentoring our youth.
There you go. Yes.
And that's so important to them. And what we don't do with our youth, we don't listen to them. You know, we have a tendency to dictate to them. And we need to get in their heads and find out what's on their minds, because that's our hope, that's our future. And it's, you know, little simple things. How was their day? What do they think about their lives? Because we've lost generations. Find out their dreams. Spend time with them. You know, church, first of all.
Yes.
Bring them to the house because church, unfortunately, was allowed for us to place a Band-Aid on our suffering.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's all.
Like you say. That's another political correct way to say it. Yes, indeed.
And that's what it was. It taught us to just live for the hereafter. The hereafter is now.
Yes.
And we have to explain to these kids, and not only just the African-American kids, to Europeans, because their lack of knowledge of us perpetuates the hate and the disorientation in our communities. And you do that by enlightenment, by simple as Mr. Garrett. You ride down the street, Garrett from Cleveland, Ohio, hey, my hometown. He invented the traffic light.
Yeah.
You know, little simple things of enlightenment that we have to start planting these seeds.
Yes.
We have to spend the time.
Yes.
Take them to church. You know, go eat after church. Everybody gets comfortable and wants to talk after they eat. You know,
That's the truth.
Little things. Tell jokes. Make them at ease. You know, and we've got to go back to our roots as well. We have to empower our past because, believe it or not, all of America's history is only dated back to slavery. Why? Think about that. Think about it. Our history is dated back to slavery. And it's a reason for that. Because that's from whence you came. That's where you have to start.
Yeah, that's where they want us to start.
That's where they want. Without a past, you're destined to repeat the past.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And so we have to alleviate ourselves that. And so that's why this book, you need to know about people that were free. They were, there was still limitations because of the color of his skin, but still he was free in mind.
He didn't let that stop him.
Right.
Yes.
And we didn't hate. See, and people don't understand all slave masters, and people are going to go, man, we don't need to hear this. But no, you do. All slave masters didn't beat and kill their slaves and rape their women. A lot of that perpetuated from outside forces when the King George sent the bottom of the barrel over.
Yeah.
Because Georgia at one point, believe it or not, was a free state. South Carolina, you could have interracial marriages.
Yeah.
You know?
So call in at 313-837-1340. This is WCHB, the All Gospel Station. Brother, it's a lot of people out here got stories and they're scared to write a book.
Right.
I know. So what inspired you to write this book? But more importantly, what are the steps to be an author of your story, okay? Some folks say there's a bunch of self-aggrandizement and all this stuff. People want to put their face on the cover, but it's more than that. So tell our listening audience, what inspired your journey?
Okay, and quickly, once again, just my desire has always been to me to help mankind and make a difference, to actually make a difference. But what entails, first of all, is just thought that we limit ourselves up because we're so caught up in our jobs, in our children, in our life. You got to find time for your thoughts. We all have stories.
Yeah.
And what I did, I would just late at night, everybody would sleep, go out in my garage in a little spot, covered by a canvas, typical like writer's little place or whatever. And like I say, it inspired me was that somebody else need to hear this story. But the process is, write it down. Write it on any piece of paper you have. All your thoughts are never wasted. There's no such thing as a wasted thought.
Tell it.
No such critter exists. And so the structure of the book is, write it down. At any given time, keep a journal with you. At all times, keep some form of paper and a pen with you. And because thoughts come at you at the strangest moments.
Man, Steve, I was just writing, I'm starting to write my book, and I was just driving, a thought came up about something happened when I was a kid and it came back to me, man. I said, I got to put that in my book, okay?
Yeah.
So let me ask you another question. So there's an introduction, and there's the prelude. What is the preface? What's the difference between the introduction and the preface? If I'm saying it right.
Well,
go ahead. Writing the book. So the one thing I want to just even add to that, Keith, I'm super proud that you following through on writing your book. See, I've been talking to Keith. I may have been Bible study it's going on 4 years ago now.
Okay.
Literally. And this whole process that he's been going through. And, all of us, we encourage him to always write your story down.
Yes,
these are just what you just described are also writing techniques that writers do. And in that process, it's also healing. As you begin to think about things like how you say, when you come across memories growing up, how did that make you feel? Write those things down. And what you are going to end up doing, Keith, let me tell you what's going to happen. Your grandchildren are going to follow your footsteps in now writing down. And that becomes the legacy. And what I heard Brother Rush talking about was how that the picture sat on a coffee table for years. And his mom didn't know. And found out just by Googling. So here you got another apparatus that allows you to research, pull up more information, and wow, this is our family member. And the whole time you're sitting amongst, and what I love about this piece, because we do this with our family as well.
Okay.
When you sit amongst royalty, you don't know it because you just think they're regular people. When regular people are royalty in your family.
That's right.
Because they're going to, I'm going back, jumping here with Keith and his grandkids. They're going to mimic everything that you're doing. The way that you help other students and people across the city of Detroit. It's their grandfather. This is things
You
that
know,
write it down so they can realize this. And when they get older, hey, while they're going through your things that you've gone off to glory and they're in their 30s, this is something that they can remember. That this is when I didn't spend time with Granddad.
That's right.
This is what Granddad was doing.
I'm gonna tell you
He
what.
had a radio show
That's right.
on the
That's
gospel
right.
channel and was consistent. No matter what went on,
Uh-huh.
he even provided for us to do the show while he wasn't here.
Uh-huh.
So that's that kind of spirit that Keith has.
Yes.
And I'm proud of you, man, that you writing your book, man.
You know, my grandson said something to me before I left for going to Florida.
Yeah.
He said, "Granddaddy, you always bring good gifts." So my grand Corey,
He knows.
Corey's only 5 years
Yeah.
old. He said that, man. I said it made me feel proud, but I said, no, that your father is providing you those gifts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want it to tell him. I didn't want it to come from me. I wanted it to come
Yes.
from my son.
Right,
Always
right.
teaching,
Which
always
is
teaching.
important. But yeah, they're sponges. They absorb
Yes,
everything.
Everything, yeah.
And that's so important again. And so back to the start of the book, write it down. Then you have to go through like 10,000 edits that drives you crazy. And
So how long did it take you to write this book?
believe it or not, just writing on weekends from sundown to in the morning, literally, just on Fridays and Saturdays. So 2 years doing that. And that was just all-nighters. I mean, all-nighters.
See, man, I ain't got that money. I got to be expedient with my expeditiously.
But
I
it
gotta
was, because
expeditiously
once you get your flow going and your train
It'll
of
come
thought,
out. It'll come
Hold
out.
on, man. I'm sitting at the pool, and I just started writing, man. The introduction tells you about the story of the book. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I had to come down. I was just coming up with ideas. I was trying to look at everybody else's introductions and see
and
how
that helps. That helps as well.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things you have to really do is make sure that, and I was just telling someone this the other day and trying to get them to start their book, is just think about your story in itself is already great. Is thinking about your life in chapters and then organize, just writing out each one of those chapters. Hey, when I was 6, I did this. When I was 12, I did that. When I was 16, I did this. Oh, well, you know what? This happened when I was 14. And this gives you an opportunity to keep it kind of outlined.
Structured.
And then that way you can go and just line it all. You take all your notes and say, oh, chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 7.
This where this
12.
fits. Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
because a lot of times you have to go back and
Right.
and,
You'll
and
remember
put it
something,
where,
something
yeah,
back
put it in
take
where it
something
fits
out,
in.
Make it relevant.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, what I'm doing, since I was a track runner, I'm using the parable of the 4x1.
Okay.
Ready, set, go, the starting, the second leg of the 4x1, the third leg in the finish line. So
Oh, that's sweet.
Okay.
That's
So-
sweet. Okay.
okay.
Beginning,
And people will
middle, and the
connect with-
end.
Right, and they will connect with that.
And some books don't have endings, but that's the structure. Like writing, we're in Motown, writing the classic song. It's the beginning, a middle, and the end.
Yeah.
You know, which fit. That's it. That's pretty much it. Beginning, middle, and end. Sometimes without an end.
So we got to get your book out to the marketplace. How do they get in touch with you? The book is called
No time.
No Time to Hate. And it's by Lexius Henson, Journal of Enlightenment. And this is about Craig's grandfather, who owned a bar, restaurant,
One
like
of-
Fridays.
Richest man in the South.
He was the one of the richest men in the
like
South.
A millionaire.
Yes, and we have some wonderful history about African Americans in your family, in everybody's
Yes.
family. There's some history
Yes.
that can bring you to some positivity. Okay,
Yes,
and so
yes.
this
Yes.
positivity
Makes a difference.
It makes a difference because
It
every
change.
listen to
It
this,
change
brothers.
the world.
Every black folks' family ain't sad.
That's right.
No,
and that's the
and-
point of this
and-
book.
right,
To
yeah.
show that we don't want to be sad. You can get it's available on Barnes and Noble. Almost any crested at the libraries. I'll be doing a book signing in February at the Detroit main
Include me in on
branch.
that, man. I would like to be
Yeah.
around.
Oh, thank you. Definitely. Most
Right.
definitely. And Amazon Kindle. Prime gets it to you in 2 days.
Yes, it does.
Right?
I
Free
use it.
shipping.
What's your price for it?
Um,
Kindle versus paperback?
The ebook is $9.99. The paperback is $19.99. I'm sorry, $16.99, and the hardcover, which will be available next week, is $19.99. So very reasonable. I just want people to get the word out.
Yeah.
The profit is another thing. That would be great, but it's about the
Get
message.
the word out and get the history.
Right. So
Yeah.
keyword Lexius Henson on Amazon Kindle.
Okay, we got authors. I think this has been the author. We ended it with authors and we
Yeah.
begin it with an author.
Yeah.
We're going to keep continuing to do this because I want everybody to come on the Courageous Hour, tell their story, because everybody needs to know individual stories,
Yes.
because that can lead to some healing and some prosperity
doubt.
out of it, too.
Healing.
Yeah. And the inspiration.
Right.
So another thing, we coming to a close. Folks, pray for Donald Trump. We don't do politics on this show, but this man has lost his mind. He's out in California. Now he's trying to cut off the people from getting the assistance about the fire they went through. He don't want to pay the people who work for the government, man, all because of an invisible wall. Something is wrong with him. I'm not telling you what to do, but all I'm asking you to do, one thing, pray for that man, because that man needs prayer.
Yes.
God be the glory. I'm back.
All right.
Okay.
We're back.
And,
Yes, yes.
hey, and so this Saturday,